divided my presentation, the outline. Okay, ready? Ready, let's start.
Hello everyone, I'm Sofia Kuzmina-Tsirklevich, a first-year student of St. Petersburg State University of Economics, specializing in customs business. Today, I'm going to tell you about small business challenges in a post-pandemic world. Let me outline the structure of my presentation. My talk is in 3 parts. I'll start with the main issues that small businesses face. Next, I'll move on to ways of resolving them. Finally, I want to look at the positive side of the pandemic for some businesses. Considering the negative impacts of the pandemic on the economy, the government's emergency measures will be aimed at preventing a banking and unemployment crisis. Among the many market sectors that require immediate attention are small and medium-sized businesses. According to the data provided by State Service for the Protection of the Rights of Entrepreneurs, the pandemic affected almost 87% of business owners. 1/5 of them lost up to 80% of revenue. However, it is small and medium-sized businesses that make up a huge part of the market economy and determine the rate of economic growth, as well as the structure and quality of the GDP. Consequently, the government is interested in restoring their stable development. So today I want to discuss the results of our analysis and argue that the main challenges that small and medium-sized businesses face are the lack of cash reserves, a drop in solvency, and the rise of unemployment. The 2 main directions of resolving the problems are adopting new business strategies on the one hand, and financial and non-financial support on the other hand. The introduced quarantine measures affected the areas of domestic market services, such as public catering, retail trade in non-food products, tourism, hotel management, urban and intercity passenger transport. Now, what are the main issues of small and medium-sized businesses?
You see a question?
The main problem is the lack of cash reserves. Cash reserves are a key to survival of small businesses. Very few of them can work without any cash flow, as they typically operate on very small profits and have no savings in reserve. According to the study by JP Morgan Chase, an American multinational investment bank and financial services holding company, most small businesses have extremely low levels of cash reserves and insufficient safety cushion to continue operating, especially in the face of such a large-scale crisis. Another problem for small businesses is a drop in solvency of citizens. It happens when a service is consumed, but there is a delay in payment for it. This revenue is already accounted for, taxed, but there is no real money. So what happens next? On the one hand, many small businesses have closed or will close soon. This leaves hope for the ones that remain to grow their customer base.
I'll stop it for a moment. Pay attention to the slide. Stylistically, a lack of cash reserves, drop in insolvency, a rise. Помните то, про что я говорила? Стилистически все одинаково. Lack, drop, rise. И только одно предложение есть на слайде, потому что это цитата. А так больше ни одного предложения вы не видите. Везде ключевые слова. Delay in payment, taxed revenue, drop in demand, chance to hire. So stylistically, it's beautiful. It's the way it should be done. Right, let's go on.
On the other hand, effective demand will continue to fall, which will not allow them to receive income sufficient for existence and development. Last but not least, this is the inevitable rise of unemployment, which is both good and bad news for business. On the one hand, there will be specialists in the labor market ready to work for a lower salary. A small enterprise that has remained operational will have a chance to employ a higher level specialist for acceptable money. On the other hand, in general, unemployment will also push demand down. So that was the basic information about small business challenges. Now let's move on to possible solutions. First, governmental support. Support for entrepreneurs can be divided into 2 key categories, financial and non-financial. The financial types of support are primarily preferential lending that conduct their activities in the field of innovation, production, and socially oriented entrepreneurship, and subsidizing part of the costs of production organizations to recover the cost of lease payments or interest on loans taken for the construction or purchase of fixed assets. Non-financial types of support for small and medium-sized businesses include various consultations, patent and licensing, organization of seminars, trainings on a remote basis, holding exhibitions for goods and services. The second and the main direction of resolving the issues is adopting new tactics of further development. For example, switching to an online format, reallocating existing resources, changing marketing and business strategies, and responding to changes in demands and other consumer trends. Now, let's look at the positive side of the pandemic. Are there any businesses that benefited from it? Undoubtedly, there are.
A question and an answer.
According to Boris Titov, Commissioner for the Protection of the Rights of Entrepreneurs, this is the IT sector, the production of medical equipment and pharmaceuticals. Products of the light industry were also very popular during the pandemic. The list can be extended. According to the rating of one of the largest Russian media holdings, RBK, the 5 areas and professions that were not affected by the coronavirus are EdTech projects, telemedicine projects, online retailers, food tech projects, and streaming services. We can conclude that the period of the pandemic undoubtedly affected the Russian economy, since small and medium-sized enterprises were not prepared for such events, either technically or financially. In order to cope with the main issues, such as the lack of cash reserves, a drop in solvency, and the rise of unemployment, companies should not only rely on governmental support, but also adopt new business strategies.
1 second. So you see, that's the conclusion. You remember I told you last time that in conclusion, you have to repeat the main ideas. It shouldn't be just some abstract phrase, but the main ideas that you want people to remember. So, okay, and look at the way it's written. Again, no sentences. Issues. Solutions. Okay, and finally.
Also, there are areas and enterprises that will reach a new level of production in a post-pandemic period. That's all for today. Thank you for listening to my talk. I'll be glad to answer your questions.
That's it.